Rare coin collecting. Discover real value and history in every coin.
The 2001 New York State Quarter is one of the most iconic pieces in the entire 50 State Quarters program, and even though millions were struck, certain high-grade examples and dramatic errors have brought strong prices at auction. The New York design stands out immediately, showing the Statue of Liberty in the foreground with the shape of the state behind her, along with a series of lines representing the 11 pathways that cross New York, symbolizing the state as the gateway to freedom. Released in 2001, it marked the 11th coin in the series and quickly became a favorite among collectors. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint with the P Mint mark, the 2001 New York Quarter had a huge production run of over 600 million coins, but as collectors know, high mintage does not mean high survival in pristine condition. Most entered circulation right away, leaving relatively few flawless mint state examples available today. The obverse uses the familiar portrait of George Washington by John Flanagan, and even though the design remained the same throughout the program, sharpness in the hair, cheek, and fields is what determines the coin's grade and value. The reverse, designed by Alfred Miletsky, includes one of the most recognizable images in American culture: the Statue of Liberty reaching upward with the state outline behind her. The lines extending across the coin represent trade, migration, and transportation, all central to New York's identity. The inscriptions, Gateway to Freedom, E Pluribus Unum, New York, and 1788, tie the message together. Good strikes on this coin show full detail in Liberty's torch and robe folds, making these features some of the first places collectors check when grading. While circulated examples remain worth face value, uncirculated pieces can command solid premiums. Most common uncirculated 2001 New York Quarters sell between $1 and $4, depending on quality. In higher mint state levels like MS-66, prices rise to about $15 to $30, and at MS-67, values often hit $75 to $120. The real prizes are the ultra-high-grade examples. In MS-68, this coin becomes extremely difficult to locate, and PCGS-certified pieces have sold for over $700 at auction. The current record sits just above that range, proving how intense the competition can be for top-tier modern state quarters. Error examples for the 2001 New York Quarter have also generated strong collector demand. Missing clad layer errors, where one side of the coin shows exposed copper, can bring $500 to $1,200 depending on condition. Off-center strikes with 20 to 40% misalignment often sell for $250 to $500, and dramatic clipped planchets can reach $150 to $300. Double-struck coins or coins struck off a feeder finger can push values into the $600 plus territory if the error is bold and well preserved. As with all modern quarters, clean surfaces and eye appeal play a major role in determining how high the market will go. The historical significance of this coin also adds emotional value for many collectors. Released just months before the events of 9/11, the New York State Quarter became a symbol of resilience and unity during a defining moment in American history. For that reason, many collectors still hold high-quality examples as keepsakes, not just as investments. Even though millions of 2001 New York Quarters circulate today, the difference between a common piece and a high-grade treasure is dramatic. A regular coin might be worth 25 cents, but a pristine MS-68 example can exceed $700, and certain dramatic errors can sell for over $1,000. That's why it's always worth checking the details: the torch, the lettering, the fields near Washington's portrait, and any unusual coloration or misstrikes. The New York Quarter proves once again that sometimes the most valuable finds are still hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone who knows exactly what to look for. The 2008 Oklahoma State Quarter is one of the final issues in the legendary 50 State Quarters program, and for many collectors, it remains one of the most beautiful designs of the entire series. Struck in 2008, the Oklahoma Quarter honors the state bird, the scissor-tailed flycatcher, soaring gracefully above the state wildflower, the Indian blanket. This design captures movement, nature, and pride all in one small piece of metal. The design was created by Phoebe Hemphill, and what makes it stand out is the sense of motion. The wings stretched wide, the flowers curling in the wind, and the background texture giving life to the prairie landscape. The obverse carries the classic portrait of George Washington, originally created by John Flanagan but modified slightly for the State Quarter series. Even though millions were minted, the elegance of this coin makes it a favorite among collectors. For the Philadelphia Mint, production was large, with well over 200 million examples struck with the P mint mark. Even with such high mintage, many collectors still search rolls hoping to find high-grade gems or striking errors. When these coins are found perfectly preserved, with sharp strikes and clean surfaces, their value can rise far beyond face value. In circulated condition, most 2008 Oklahoma quarters are worth 25 cents. But in mint state grades, collectors pay much more. A solid uncirculated example starts around $1 to $5, depending on quality. In higher levels like MS-66, the price can jump to $40 to $75, and for elite grades like MS-67, the value can reach $200 to $300. The most exceptional pieces graded MS-68 have been known to bring $800 to even over $1,000 at auction when demand is high. Modern quarters in such pristine condition are tough to find because most entered circulation immediately. Some Oklahoma quarters also appear with interesting errors. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks along the lettering, and struck through grease errors are some of the varieties collectors enjoy. Depending on the severity and eye appeal, these errors can range from $20 for small imperfections to $150 or more for dramatic examples. A major off-center error with full details can even go beyond $250 when offered at auction. Beyond value, the Oklahoma quarter is rich in symbolism. The scissor-tailed flycatcher is known for its long tail feathers that open like scissors during flight, an image perfectly captured on the coin. The Indian blanket flower below represents the spirit of the plains, native heritage, and the beauty of Oklahoma's open landscapes. Together, these elements show the state's identity in a way that feels alive and artistic. Collectors love this coin not only because of its design but because it marks the final stretch of the historic 50-state series, a program that introduced millions to coin collecting. Finding a flawless example of the Oklahoma quarter feels like discovering a small piece of modern American history. And with the right condition, even a simple pocket change coin can turn into a valuable piece for your collection. If you have 2008 Oklahoma quarters at home, check them closely. Look at the bird's feathers, the flower petals, and the fields around Washington's portrait. A perfectly struck, untouched coin could be worth far more than you expect, and errors can push that value even higher. The Oklahoma quarter proves that even the newest coins can still surprise you, and sometimes the most beautiful designs are hiding in everyday change. The 2004 Wisconsin State Quarter is one of the most talked about coins in the entire State Quarter series, and it's not because of its normal design. It became famous for one of the most dramatic modern mint errors ever discovered, an error that turned a simple 25-cent coin into a collectible worth thousands of dollars. Even without errors, the Wisconsin Quarter stands out with its bold agricultural theme and strong symbolism. But the moment the extra leaf varieties were discovered, this coin became a modern legend. Struck at the Denver Mint with the D mint mark, the 2004 D issue had a large mintage of more than 226 million coins. Most went into circulation quickly, but the real excitement began when collectors started noticing something unusual on the reverse, an extra leaf on the ear of corn. This small detail created two famous varieties, the extra leaf low and extra leaf high. These were not minor die chips or random flaws. The added leaf looked deliberate, and the error became one of the biggest modern coin discoveries of the decade. The normal design shows a cow standing proudly on the left, a wheel of cheese near the bottom, and a large ear of corn on the right, representing Wisconsin's dairy and agricultural industry. Above the images sits the inscription, Wisconsin 1848, and below it, Forward, the state motto. It's a simple composition, but the bold cow and strong outline give it a unique character. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington by John Flanagan, with crisp lettering and smooth fields when the coin is struck well. Most circulated examples of the 2004 Wisconsin quarter are worth face value, but uncirculated pieces can bring a little more. Normal mint state examples fall in the $1 to $5 range, with MS-66 coins jumping to $20 to $40 depending on eye appeal. In MS-67, prices rise to around $100 to $150, and the absolute top-grade MS-68 pieces have sold for over $400, with the highest auction examples exceeding $500. But the real money is in the extra leaf errors. The extra leaf low variety, where the added leaf droops toward the bottom of the corn, has sold for $500 to over $1,200 depending on grade. High-grade examples graded MS-66 or MS-67 frequently break four figures. The extra leaf high variety is even more dramatic, showing the added leaf pointing upward. These have sold for enormous prices, with strong mint state examples bringing $1,500 to $2,500, and top-tier coins reaching even higher. One of the finest certified pieces crossed the $3,000 mark at auction. Other errors exist too, such as clipped planches and off-center strikes, which can sell from $50 to $200, but nothing compares to the extra leaf varieties. They stand alone as one of the most sought-after errors in all modern U.S. coinage. Collectors still debate how the extra leaves were created. Some believe a mint employee may have intentionally modified a die, while others think it was accidental damage that happened to create a convincing shape. Regardless of origin, the result is one of the most collectible quarters ever released into circulation. The Wisconsin quarter captures the spirit of the state with a bold, straightforward design, and in normal condition it remains a popular choice for beginner collectors. But for those lucky enough to find an extra leaf variety, the value can be life-changing. A coin pulled from change for 25 cents could be worth more than $2,000. Even today, people still search rolls hoping to uncover one of these famous errors. If you ever come across a 2004 Wisconsin quarter, check the corn carefully. Look for an extra leaf pointing up or down. A tiny detail can transform an ordinary coin into one of the greatest modern treasures the State Quarter series has ever produced. The 2001 Kentucky State Quarter is one of the standout designs from the early 2000s, and while most people see it as just another state quarter, collectors know there's a lot more hiding beneath the surface, especially in high grades. Released as the 15th coin in the State Quarters program, it celebrates Kentucky as the birthplace of American thoroughbred racing, with a reverse design that instantly catches your attention. Even though more than 370 million pieces were struck at the Denver Mint, finding perfectly preserved specimens isn't as easy as the mintage might suggest. The reverse features the famous Federal Hill Mansion, known as My Old Kentucky Home, with a beautifully sculpted thoroughbred standing behind a fence in the foreground. The horse is the centerpiece, head held high, posture proud, and muscles clearly defined when struck well. The surrounding design includes the state outline and the inscription, My Old Kentucky Home, along with 1792, and E Pluribus Unum. It's a mix of architecture, heritage, and Kentucky's deep connection to horses. A strong strike makes the horse's mane, eyes, and fence lines show sharply, details collectors always look for. The obverse carries the classic John Flanagan portrait of George Washington used throughout the State Quarter series. Like every coin in the program, subtle strike differences on the obverse can push a quarter into a higher, or much lower, grading tier. Smooth fields, crisp hair strands, strong jawline definition, and minimal contact marks are essential for mint state collectors specializing in early 2000s Denver coins. In circulated condition, the 2001 Kentucky quarter is worth face value. But in uncirculated grades, values rise with quality. A fresh mint state example usually sells in the $1 to $3 range. In MS-65, prices move into the $8 to $15 level. The real climb begins at MS-66, where these coins sell for $25 to $40, sometimes higher if the surfaces are exceptionally clean. At MS-67, the coin becomes genuinely scarce, commonly reaching $100 to $150. The highest elite grade, MS-68, is extremely rare for this issue, and certified examples have sold for $400 to $600, with the strongest auction results pushing even higher when buyer competition is strong. Errors also add excitement to this coin. Several types have been found on 2001 Kentucky quarters, and they bring solid premiums depending on severity. Off-center strikes with clear design exposure can range from $75 to $250, while dramatic 20 to 40% off-center examples bring even more. Clipped planches sell in the $50 to $125 range depending on size. Double-struck pieces are among the most valuable, often selling for $200 to $400, and spectacular major double strikes can exceed $600 when certified. Missing clad layer errors, where one side appears copper, have traded for $300 to $500 in mint state. Even minor die cracks along the horse or mansion can bring $10 to $40 to error collectors. The historical appeal of this coin adds another layer of interest. Federal Hill, located in Bardstown, stands as one of the most recognizable symbols in Kentucky's history, inspiring the state song, "My Old Kentucky Home," and becoming forever tied to horse racing culture. When the U.S. Mint chose to pair the mansion with a champion-like horse, the design honored both Kentucky's architectural heritage and its identity as the home of the Kentucky Derby and bluegrass racing traditions. Even though millions of 2001 Kentucky quarters still circulate today, pristine examples are far harder to find. Many were released into the economy immediately in 2001, making untouched Denver strikes rare in higher grades. That's why collectors continue to search rolls and bags hoping to discover one flawless piece. A normal quarter may be worth 25 cents, but a sharp MS-68 example can bring over $500, and dramatic errors can easily push past $400. The Kentucky quarter proves that even in a massive mintage, hidden gems still exist, waiting for someone with the right eye to discover them. The 1999 Delaware State Quarter is one of the most significant modern coins ever released because it marked the very beginning of the 50 State Quarters program. When it first appeared in January 1999, millions of Americans started collecting coins for the first time, and Delaware's design became the face of a new era in U.S. coinage. Even though it was mass-produced at the Philadelphia Mint, certain high-grade examples and dramatic errors have brought serious premiums, making this coin a fascinating mix of history, art, and unexpected value. The reverse features Caesar Rodney on horseback, a powerful tribute to his historic 1776 ride through a violent storm to cast a crucial vote for American independence. The dynamic image of Rodney galloping forward captures motion and urgency, and the sharpest strikes reveal detailed reins, facial contours, and crisp horse musculature. The inscriptions include Caesar Rodney, Delaware, the first state, and 1787, all tied together with the motto, E pluribus unum. It's a design that celebrates bravery, determination, and Delaware's identity as the first state to ratify the Constitution. The obverse retains the familiar portrait of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan and slightly modified for the quarter program. Philadelphia's 1999 strikes often show light contact marks or weak areas in Washington's cheek and jawline, which makes high-end mint state examples far scarcer than the huge mintage would suggest. With over 373 million coins struck at Philadelphia, the challenge isn't finding a Delaware quarter. It's finding a perfect one. Circulated examples remain worth face value, but uncirculated pieces gain value based on grade. A typical mint state Delaware quarter sells between $1 and $3, while MS-65 pieces can reach $10 to $20. In MS-66, values jump to $30 to $50, depending on how clean the fields are. At MS-67, the coin becomes truly scarce, often selling for $120 to $200, sometimes higher for perfectly struck examples. The real rarity is MS-68. These are extremely difficult to locate because Philadelphia coins from 1999 suffered from heavy bag marks and inconsistent strikes. When a flawless specimen appears, it can bring major money. Certified MS-68 examples have sold for $900 to $1,200, and some of the top registry quality coins have pushed slightly above that range when collectors compete fiercely. Error collectors also pay strong premiums for dramatic varieties on the Delaware quarter. One of the most valuable is the missing clad layer error, where one side shows raw copper. These usually sell for $400 to $800, and exceptional mint state pieces can reach $1,000. Off-center strikes of 20% or more can bring $150 to $300, and those showing both date and mint mark command even more. Double-struck examples often fall in the $250 to $600 range depending on severity. Clipped planchets can sell for $60 to $150, and die cracks on Caesar Rodney's horse or face can bring $10 to $40 depending on size and visibility. As the very first state quarter ever released, this coin carries historical weight beyond its metal value. In 1999, Millions lined up at banks just to get a fresh roll of Delaware quarters, and the excitement helped spark the most successful coin collecting program in U.S. history. Even today, collectors look back on the Delaware quarter as the beginning of a new wave of modern numismatic interest. For anyone searching rolls, bags, or old savings jars, the 1999p Delaware quarter remains a rewarding find. Most are still worth 25 cents, but a clean MS-67 can be worth over $150, and a flawless MS-68 can break $1,000. Add in dramatic mint errors, and you have a coin capable of reaching even higher values. It's a reminder that the very first state quarter still holds some of the most surprising treasures in modern coin collecting.